Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Friday Europe fly tying Zoom meeting. This evening we got our friend Serge Tanguy from, what is it? Canada?
Yeah.
Eastern part of Canada.
Yeah.
And he'll show us his techniques with tying tube flies. And after Serge's demonstration, we have a surprise from our Norwegian friend Havard, who will be showing some traditional techniques for tying with the spinning block used by the old favorite of us, Verne, Heidi, and Lijzenring period. I think it's from the 1950s era, and they've been really been popular with tying Flymph and spiders and that kind of nice flies. So without further ado, let's introduce Serge. How do we spotlight him?
Hi everybody. I just want to tell you that I'm a fisherman more than a tyer. So hopefully you will learn something with me, but you will probably learn more about fishing than tying. Okay. Tube fly tying is something that is quite new over here, and we start to fish with these kind of fly after we saw Danish and Swedish and a lot of people though from Europe to use these fly for salmon fishing, and so we. With YouTube now, since then actually, with YouTube since 10, 12 years now, a lot of guy over there had prepare video about tying tube fly and about fishing these flies. So we learn a bit. We're not as good as they are, but we are learning a lot about these fly, and we're now using it more and.
Well, Serge, you've gone. Your microphone has been turned off.
I don't know why.
Oh.
Maybe I'm talking too much. So we start using these fly for Atlantic salmon, obviously, but more and more the tube fly are used for sea trout, steelhead, striped bass, and the brook trout over here. The way I learned though about these fly before and after I saw some fishermen on YouTube is by reading about them. These books there are some of the book that I really enjoy, because they not only presented fly but also how to use it, when to use it, and what are the advantage of using them. So after that, I went to YouTube. As I said, the YouTube is a big library, yeah? And many site now, website are and channel on YouTube are presenting tube fly tying and tube fly fishing. We do have one here in the country that is very important, the Canadian tube fly. It's a web. The guy Stuart Anderson started his business many years ago when the tube fly were becoming popular over here. So and now, it's not only a shop, but it's also a library of video about how to tie these fly, and tricks and tricks and tricks. And So that one that I watch a lot. A good flight tire and fly fisherman, I should say a good fisherwoman that is quite active in that field is April Vauquet from BC, and she also developed some fly and developed some techniques adapted to the west coast of the country, but we use them here now, and they are very effective. Another very good channel is the one from Flymph. I guess he is from Sweden or Norway, I don't remember. But this guy is also a great fly tire, tube fly tire, and he is a fisherman there. So he has a little shop. He sells things for fly tying, but mostly each month, actually, once a month, he publishes the fly of the month. So it's a good way to learn how to tie these two fly. From the United States, Tim Flagger had made some sort of a chapter about tube fly tying on his own channel, and you all know, I guess, Tim, and he knows how to teach people, and he's very good at that. So that's a good channel to go and learn how to. Another Canadian is Peter Charles, which had developed a channel called hookforlife.ca, and his channel present gear and fly and techniques for tube fly fishing and tying. And a good tire I really love is David McPhail. He's from Scotland, and David is not only a guy that tie the regular fly, I'd say, but he also tie very good tube fly. So these channel are the one that I would recommend to somebody who doesn't know about tube fly, but want to learn a little bit. You stop me if you have any question. Global Fly Fisher is a great website. I'm quite sure that you all know about it. It's a website that presents a lot of matter about fly fishing, and they have an entire chapter about tube fly too. And it's their website present all the basic of a tube fly. It's kind of an introduction to the concept of tube flies, and why all the arguments that people have over there to use these tubes rather than the regular fly. So I would also suggest that somebody that want to learn, well, just go there and take the time to read all that. I mean, it's full of information, and it has there everything you need to start tube tying and tube fishing. So the fly that I decided to, or that I choose to present is the John Allen variant. You have on the left here the original that was tied by Paul Leblanc. Paul is a very great guide, Atlantic salmon guide. He's also he owned a fly shop in Montreal for 20 years, I guess. He's retired now, but he developed a lot of fly, and he came with this one, and then we just make variant of this fly by on tube, and we made many versions of it, and we tried these versions with salmon, but also steelhead and strip bass and even brook trout. The big brook trout in the northern part of the country love tube fly. We do have a lot of rivers here, so these tube fly are very, very well adapted to rivers. But we did give a try to on lake too, for pike mostly. And we also use these fly in the sea, I mean on the shore, for strip bass, and they work very well. So that's why a lot of guys here are getting in it, and now they are convinced of the quality of this type of fly. We're gonna try to make this one here, which is adapted to salmon fishing. As you start adding color to your fly, too much actually, you understand that you are targeting here more steelhead and that sort of fish. Atlantic salmon, you have, I mean, the fly has to be brilliant a little bit, but not too much. If it has too much color, too much thing, during some time of the year, I mean, the salmon will not take it. It will be like it will be almost afraid about it. I mean, they'll move in the river. As soon as they see these fly coming in, they're going to move, and we don't know why. So the one we are using has some kind of brilliant things, but not too much like this one here, the one up. So what I'm going to use to tie the fly is going to be a copper tube with an insert in it. I will explain it later what it is exactly. Flat thread. Since you are tying on a tube, the round thread like unithread are not as good as the flat one. So I'm going to use here UTC 70, red and yellow. For the tail, I'll be using fin raccoon. You can also use any other type of yellow fur. Icelandic sheep is very good too, has a lot of movement. For the body, I'm going to use a product from Semperfly that is called Straggle String. The color is yellow sunburst. For the wing, I'll use a black fin raccoon or temple fur. In this case here, I'll go with the fin raccoon. Paul Leblanc used to tie his version with black bear. I'll give a bit of a flash to the fly with the 2 strands of flashabou, and the color will be done with schlappen feather, and I'll add some jungle cock, which is optional. On salmon fly, jungle cock are always a winner, but on steelhead, not that important at all, from my point of view. Obviously. Any question? These are some of the fish we had caught with tube fly. Not specifically this one here, but as I said, Atlantic salmon, brook trout, steelhead, pike, and striped bass catch with I caught with these fly. What I did here, for those of you that don't know about tube fly, is that you got to prepare a tube when you want to tie on it. You put in the tube a plastic in this metal tube here. I did just had a plastic tube inside. You know, you melt it, so plastic is going close to the tube, and that makes a tube ready for tying. Okay, so what I did, I just tie red thread here, put a bit of glue on it, had the big plastic tube here. So I'll start here with the yellow thread. It doesn't have to be perfect here, because what I want to do is just a base for my body. For the body, I said I'm going to use a sample fly straggled string, right? Too much will just feel the fish. And when I tie the things on my tube, I like to tie it on the top of the tube. It gives to the tube some sort of oval form at the end, which help the tube again to swim in the river. If I anything that would be heavy that I would tie to this tube, I would put it under the tube. You understand why? Just to have the weight down, right? But this is not heavy, so I prefer to tie it on the top. And at the end, when you look at the tube, it has this kind of peg form that I like. So I'll just make a couple of turns of this stuff here. This is a fin raccoon. Very, very, very good hair here for tube fly. I don't know if these hair are used. I like to have this fur about the length of the tube with the plastic tube. Okay. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here. And then I go with the body. Oh, I don't know if you see, but the little flash on the chenille, but it's just enough. more here. Yeah. Okay, from here, drop of glue is always a good idea. Makes everything stay in place. Steady eye is very important in fly tying, right? I don't have enough today. Okay. For salmon fishing, you don't want to have too much of the color there. Just a little bit. Make your fly not as interesting for the fish. Here, actually, I don't know anywhere else for salmon, but here, I mean, just a little bit is enough. If they have to love them, and they don't care about the split. Well, this one here, Celir, I'm using Vineyard. I'm using this stuff since I'd say 30 to 35 years now, and it's the one that I really like. There's a lot on the market right now, but I don't think there's one as good as this one.
It's a lacquer.
It's a lacquer, yeah.
Yeah.
Because the way it works is that your tippet goes into the tube, the plastic tube. You attach your hook at the tippet, get the hook in the plastic, the junction tube. It's really hard for me to say junction. So when you catch a fish, during the battle, the fight, the hook has tendency to just get out of the tube, and the fly goes away from the fish. So you can catch 2-3 salmon with the same fly.
It doesn't get damaged because it's away from the teeth of the fish, you mean?
Exactly. It's preserved in a way, And also, what I like about it is sometimes when you fish near the bottom, it's fun to have a hook that is upside. So you can have your hook fixed this way too. If you go fishing Sault Ste. Marie in Ontario for steelhead are most of the time in boulders and rocks there. I mean, you don't have the choice. You have to have your hook up like this one.
Now we got a surprise guest with Havard from Norway. He will show a very traditional way of tying wet flies, flimps, so-called. Those are wet flies without wings, if I'm correct, Havard.
Yes.
The way Lysenring and Heidi. I got a book from here. Let's see if you can show it here. Here's a book called Tying.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a famous book from these two gentlemen, and I think Havard got a copy of it too. So Havard, if you're ready, then we're all looking forward to your demonstration.
All right, so I talked to Jay and he said, can you show up and actually show this thing that I posted on Facebook the other day? And I said yes, and don't have any presentation, but the thing I'm going to tie is a March Brown Flymph, and basically the Flymph is a wingless wet that works with the translucent of using natural silk dubbed with material very sparsely, so that the the silk together with the dubbing works together to create a silhouette, the color, and trapping bubbles, because this is the stage between nymphs and when they come up to hatch. So I'll start with actually making the body of the fly, because when it comes to flymphs, you create the bodies up front on a spinning block with fur and silk. What we're going to do is create these kind of pre-tapered, pre-made bodies that we will use when we actually tie the fly. Okay, so you have the spinning block. You have different types of spinning blocks, but they all basically work the same way. There's a peg, there's a notch to actually attach the silk thread, and then you have a little part here where we actually will build the taper of the body. So this time I'm going to use Pearsall's orange. The thing with this is that you have to take into consideration how will the Pearsall actually work, or how will it, what kind of color will it have when you actually get it wet. So I'm using kind of dark orange here, but you can also use yellow or, for example, green. So it depends on what kind of hatch you have where you are fishing. But basically Flymphs is a style, so you can tie any nymphs in a Flymph style, basically. So first I'll take some wax and actually wax the thread well, 3 or 4 times. Then I'll attach the silk to the peg, and I'll fasten the silk so that I have a silk thread going over the white area here. You can also have like a black area if you have a lot of white dubbing, for example. So I made some pre-made some hare's mask and brown red wool that I blended together for this one. I'll take some tweezers and I'll start actually building up the body. So because I want to do this, finish up with a tapered body, I want to start with quite a few hairs in the beginning, and then slowly build myself up with more and more dubbing as I go down the spinning block here. Of course, this is where you choose, as I said, like the color of the silk will say something about how the finished fly will look. You can also choose to have longer guard hairs to have a more fluffy looking fly, or this is up to you when you actually sit here on the spinning block to create the body that you will have in the end. The best thing is, of course, to create these bodies the day before, because then the wax will set and it's easier to actually use the tapered body the next day or in an hour or so. So now I have put the dubbing down here. Let's see if I can make it clear. Can you see that?
Yep.
Yes, we see it fine. Looks good.
Yes. All right. So then I'll take the second thread and I'll lay it on top of the dubbing and down the hatch at the end of the spinning block. So now I trapped all the dubbing. Some people say that, why don't you just dub on the thread while you are doing this? And of course you can make flymphs that way as well, but with this way you can much more precisely build up the body and the amount of dubbing as you go along. So I'll start twisting the 2 threads to the left, still trapping the silk thread, and I'll hold down here and slowly let the dubbing spin up, and then I'll twist it some more. So now I have a tapered body here, and I can attach that to my card like this. And now I have that ready to actually tie on the fly. So now I can sit down and make 10, 12 different bodies for different sizes depending on what I'm actually tying up today or tomorrow. So with that, I'm going to go over to actually using this. I'm just going to move my camera here. And see if we can't actually get a little bit of focus. Let's see. Let's see if we can. There we go. So that's the finished fly. Okay. So here I'm using a Camazon 830 size 12 for this one. It's a long shank hook. Again, it really doesn't matter what kind of hook it is. If it's a long hook or short hook, it depends on what kind of nymph you are actually targeting. These kind of small ones I've actually tied up for a friend of mine targeting Atlantic salmon up north in Norway, so it's possible to use on that as well. So I'll wax my thread, then do a body layer.
This is regular thread, Havard?
No. This is Persil's.
Still Persil silk.
Persil
okay.
silk, because the silk you are now using is actually is the color is a part of what's underneath the tapered body. You'll see that when I actually start applying the body. So I'll just I got some partridge wings here, so I'll just get some fibers for a tail. Something like tail, maybe something like that. And try not to use too many turns when you're actually using up your very old Persils, and because it's also very thick compared to other threads. the recipe states that you can either use gold or you can use primrose yellow, I think, for ribbing. I'm using some old vineyard gold tinsel for this one. I gotta love the old vineyard though. They don't make it like this anymore. So I'll attach just 2 wraps with gold, and then I'll take the body. I'll use the one I did earlier because that's actually the wax has set on this one. So I'll attach the spun fur. And then make a nice even body, because the orange here will be a part of the final expression of the actual fly when we fish it. So a little bit of wax is needed. Then I'll take the spun body and I'll twist it up a little bit more, just so that we are sure that it's everything sticks together. And now you actually got some choices, because you can choose to wrap this in a very tight fashion, or you can wrap it sort of like a tight rib going up towards the hook eye. So depending on that, you will get different bodies on your Flymphs, because you will basically have tiny amounts of dubbing going up the hook. So right now I'm just using wraps with, you know, a little bit of in between. And I'll finish up at the eye. And I'll counter rib the gold towards the eye. Like that. So you can see right now we have a very sparse, let's see if I can focus. There, can you see that? Yeah. We have a very sparse body right now, and you can see the orange coming through from the silk, both on the body and from the silk that we had on the spun body, yeah, the body that we made earlier. So then it's all a matter of getting a hackle. It's a wingless wet, so we'll just make a front hackle with partridge as well. So prepare the hackle, get a little bit of wax. Then we tie it tip first, and then we wrap it backwards, and then we use the piercels to trap the fibers as we move forward again. Because a lot of the time we use starling or, you know, other small hackles that are really, really fragile. So you really want to make sure you trap them properly as you move forward. Let's see if we can get this done. Cut stem and way through the hackle. then just finish off the end. That's it for this fly. So it's a very quick fly to tie, and once you have the technique in with actually making these pre-made tapered bodies, it's a breeze to knock out quite a few of these flies. So I haven't fished them more than, like, let's say the last 2 years or so, because I really started to read up on the literature about this and got into these old ways of tying that Heidi and Lysenring actually did, and had a lot of good experience last autumn with this on both grayling and trout here in Norway. So this summer I'm really gonna focus a lot on doing fishing with these here in Norway.
You fish it in a swing?
Both you can both fish it upstreams and drift it, and then straight across and swing it. It depends on where you are and the current and where the fish actually stands.
Mm-hmm.
So you can do it both. So you can actually fish them as you would do a wet fly as well. But the Lysenring lift also, you fish it up, let it sink down, and then you actually lift up the fly and let it rise up, because it mimics the natural movement of the nymph coming to the surface. And together with the air bubbles that will be trapped in the dubbing in the body here, it will give that natural look of the fly. This one is from 54 Dean Street in Italy, and this one is from my friend Jan Håvard. He sent this to me. But basically, the concept is really simple. It's a block of wood, and it's a peg, and there's 2 notches to actually fasten the silk thread while you are attaching the dubbing to the silk. So I have 4 or 5 of these cards, and then I'll make them up, and I'll make them up in size 12, 14, 16, depending on what I'm after. And then I'll make it up in different colors, depending on the fly that I'm actually tying up. So